Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are doing the Shrine of Secrets review for the 31st of October 2023. So happy Halloween if you celebrate it. This is being recorded on the 1st of November, so it's technically not Halloween now, but you know, it still applies. But anyway, if you're still haven't got all your rewards from the Haunted by Daylight events, make sure to do them because I'm pretty sure there's less than a week. I was just trying to think. I think there's like 6 days or something of the event left, so make sure you get all your free rewards, free outfits, weapons, charms, stuff like that, because it will be going within the next week. So anyway, we're going to get started. So first up we have Flashbang, which is a Leon perk from the Resident Evil chapter, and basically after you repair a generator for a certain amount of time, Flashbang activates, and then you're able to enter a locker while empty-handed, and you can make craft a flash grenade, which basically lets you throw it down and blind the killer and also stun them. If you manage to time it right, you just literally throw it down on the ground, and then it's left behind also when escaping the trial. So you can't like bring it with you to the next match, if that makes sense. It's just obviously to using this one. But yeah, so basically you get to make a bloody flashbang, which is so cool when this perk first came out because we didn't really have anything like this before. So it's really cool in that sense. It's really good for like Leon's character as well. It's very much like a perk you would have. But this perk's really fun. It's a perk that like it's basically just flashlight blinding in a different way. You have to be really careful with your timing because once you throw the flashbang down, it's like 2 seconds or something before it goes off. It doesn't just go off when you throw it. You have to like if you're doing it when the killer's picking up a survivor, you have to be in front of the killer at a certain distance. You have to throw it down before the pickup animation starts. But similar to a flashlight blind, it can't be too early, it can't be too late. So I think that's the only thing with this perk. Like I personally don't use this perk because of that, and also that's just not my playstyle to be aggressive like that. But it's really good for flashlight blinds. It's really good for just like if you're looping a killer and you go around a tight corner, you can drop it. If it does make a sound, so if the killer can hear if you drop one, but if you're in a chase and you've like dropped a pallet, or if they're just focusing, sometimes they don't hear it, and obviously if you're around the corner they don't see it on the ground either. So I think overall it's fun. It is good. Obviously it's good at what it does, but I think that this perk's used more for like the lols and just kind of having a laugh and trying to get fun blinds and fun angles and stuff like that. So it's definitely a fun perk. It's definitely good for like teammates and just doing survive friends. But personally, just for me, the only thing about me is obviously the timing, and also if you don't play aggressively like that, then this perk's probably not for you. Next up we have Technician, which is a Feng perk, and this perk has so once you're repairing a generator, if you fail a skill check, the generator explosion is prevented, so it doesn't tell the killer where you are. The generator loses progress like normal, and it loses an additional 3% progress, and also reduces the sounds of your personal repairing by 8 meters, which I think that part is not really as important because it can be helpful sometimes if the killer's kind of just coming around loosely to check, and if they don't, come right up to the gen, then they won't notice you. But I think that part's not really important, that it doesn't really matter. The main part is the failed skill check bit. And I think this is one of those perks that's geared towards beginners, kind of like all of Feng's perks are, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I feel like, in my opinion, they're kind of geared towards learning different mechanics of playing Survivor. And I think in this case, this is about not failing gens, but it's about obviously repairing generators, and if you fail skill checks, it's not as big a deal. However, I will say, losing progress like normal, as well as additional 3% at tier 3 is kind of crazy. Like, I get what they mean because obviously it's preventing the explosion, which I think is supposed to be like the balance, isn't it? Like in return, you don't get the loud noise notification, but it loses additional progress as well as the normal progress anyway. So I feel like it's kind of a bit much. Maybe they could probably tone that down in this day and age. I don't really see many people, if at all, using Technician, to be honest. So I think it's really good if you're trying out the game or if you're just learning Survivor and stuff, using it for a bit while you get more confident with skill checks. However, skill checks are pretty easy in general. There's obviously some cases where you're not focusing, or sometimes I am focusing, I just hit it too early. But I think this is mainly for like beginners and learning gens and skill checks. And if you mess up, then it's like it's not as bad. However, like I said, I think that additional progress loss is still quite brutal. So I think you could definitely miss out on this one unless, like I said, you are learning. In that case, obviously, it'll probably be good for you. But if not, and like I said, skill checks are easy enough anyway. It's a pretty simple part of the game. So I feel like you won't be using this for long anyway. Next up, we have No Way Out, which is a Trickster perk. Every time you hook a survivor for the first time, you get a token, which goes up to 4 tokens. And then at the end game, every time a survivor interacts with an exit gate switch, you'll receive a loud noise notification on that exit gate, and it blocks that exit gate switch for 12 seconds for each survivor. So that means if you get all 4 survivors and you hook them all and they tap the exit gate, then you get a whole minute of the exit gate being blocked. And that's not like Blood Warden where it just blocks physically the exit gate. It just literally the switch. So they can't even like start to interact with the switch basically. So they can't even begin to open the exit gate without having to wait at least a minute. Now, even if you don't hook anyone somehow, and even if, you know, they get to endgame, it's still 12 seconds. It's just that it adds more onto, you know, the more survivors that you hook, and you have to do every one of these once, the same way that barbecue used to work, basically. And basically, yeah, this perk's really good. This is a really strong perk. It's kind of like easy in a sense, because like you just have to hook survivors to get it to work, and you get a really powerful effect. However, obviously, you have to try and do everyone, so it's a good way to discourage like tunneling, because it does require you to go out and get over people. And also, if you don't get to endgame, which you can say it's about any endgame perk in this game, but if you don't get to endgame, then this perk obviously doesn't really do anything, because you haven't even got to the point where No Way Out like needs or like, you know, has the requirements to work. So other than that, I think this perk is really good. A whole minute of blocking can be the difference between like, you know, 2 kills and 3 kills. It could be a 4K. If you're doing like a Merciless, that could be really good. However, it only applies to Trickster, but you get what I mean. Like that extra minute where they can't even like repair I keep saying repair, but you know, open the exit gate. You know what I mean? The switch. Like that's crazy. It's so powerful and so helpful as well for you, because it means that those survivors just have to force to kind of just walk around, and it blocks both as well. Even though, like I said, it does the loud noise notification on the switch that was tapped first, it does block both. So it's not like they tap that one and they can go to the other one. They both get blocked. As long as you've got tokens and you've got the perk leveled up, then they're going to be here for a while, you know. And hopefully, if you can find them, you can maybe combine this with like Remember Me. So even if the exit gate switches get opened again, they still have to. It takes longer for them, you know. It still takes them that amount of time. And Blood Warden and, you know, everything like that, Rancor, Noeds, things like that. It's really good, but honestly, by itself, it's such a good perk, and I use this on loads of my killers, because basically any killer can benefit from this. All you have to do is hook survivors, so this perk's really worth it, in my opinion. And finally, we have Blood Echo, which is an Oni perk. I've talked about this one plenty of times, so I won't spend as long on it, but basically, every time you hook a survivor, all other injured survivors suffer from hemorrhage and exhaustion for 45 seconds, and then it goes on cooldown for 60 seconds. I think this perk's quite weak. I get what it's trying to do, and there's definitely some killers that benefit from it, mainly Legion and Plague, maybe Oni himself, and maybe killers who, you know, need people to be injured. However, I think like the cooldown for one, it goes on for 45 seconds, and then it has a cooldown of 60 seconds, which means you have to kind of wait a while between hooks and gameplay to get it to activate. If there's not enough injured people, or there's only one injured person, then, you know, it's not getting the most out of that perk, if that makes sense. And also, if there's no one with like exhaustion perks, then, you know, the exhaustion part doesn't really matter. And if you are playing it on a killer like Legion or Plague, where survivors need to be injured, they're probably not going to be healing, so hemorrhage does not really do anything anyway. So I get what this perk's trying to go for, and I think in those cases it can be good, and it can be a good like deterrent, and it can be like annoying, you know. It's kind of like the way like Plaything's kind of annoying, but I just think overall it's not great. I don't really use it a whole lot, and I wouldn't really recommend it, because it's not really like anything crazy, you know. Like it's good, but it's not like amazing. So I think I don't even know if it's good, to be honest. I just think it's decent. I think it's a decent effect. Like you won't really see people using this. When you see it, it's like a nice surprise, but other than that, it's just kind of whatever, really. So guys, that'll do it from me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this useful. I'm gonna try and hopefully get a a killer gameplay coming out soon, because I want to try and do like one of those videos where I play killer that I don't play very much, or maybe just a killer gameplay in general. I'll see what I want to do, but that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.